Perfect. I'll now write a full original exclusive YouTube voiceover script, 1,400 to 1,700 words, inspired by the same emotional arc and theme as the wedding story, but with new names, new locations, new events, and a fresh structure that belongs 100% to you. Your requirements are locked in. American natural lived-in storytelling voice. Emotional rhythm. Funny, bitter, rising tension, explosive twist. Focus on the protagonist's inner world. 3-act structure with a massive hook, a strong turning point, and a satisfying but debatable ending. No long paragraph breaks, no fancy punctuation. Dashes instead of M dashes, no ellipses. Final call to action that sparks comments. Here is your fully rewritten script. Full script approx 1,550 words. Exclusive original YouTube voice-over style. I want to tell you about the day a whole room of rich folks decided who I was before I even said my name, and how a few hours later they stood frozen like somebody unplugged reality. If you've ever been looked down on, shoved aside, or judged before you opened your mouth, yeah, you might feel this one. Because I sure felt it that day standing outside my best friend's sister's wedding in a wrinkled suit that made me look like I'd slept in my car. Act 1. The hook and the setup. The wedding was at the Northridge Estate in Vermont, one of those places where the grass looks like it's hand-painted and the air smells like generational wealth. I pulled up in my old charcoal sedan, the kind of car valet boys try not to laugh at but usually fail. My buddy, Mason Cole, had asked me to come. His little sister Emily was getting married to a guy named Brent. Simple enough. I'd known the Cole family for years, but to be honest, they'd only ever known me from a distance. Mason and I grew up together, but after college I kind of disappeared into my own lane building things, quietly keeping my life private. I stepped out of the car, straightened my tie, tried to flatten what my iron refused to. I barely made it 3 steps before a man I'd never seen before blocked my way. Tall guy, white hair, slicked back a gold watch that could buy someone a house. His name, I'd learn later, was Charles Cole, father of the bride. The kind of man who corrects people in restaurants and thinks waiters should say sir 3 times per sentence. He looked me up and down like I was a roach he wasn't sure he should squash or ignore. "This area is for guests only," he said. "Drivers can wait near the service entrance." I told him as calmly as I could, "Sir, I'm here for Emily and Brent's wedding. I'm a guest." He laughed. Not a chuckle, a real laugh, the kind that tells you he enjoys this. A guest? In that go around back, you'll be more comfortable with the other staff. I swear to you the air changed temperature. A couple nearby gasped. Someone else started recording with their phone because humiliation is entertainment these days. I tried again. "I'm a friend of Mason's." Charles waved a hand. "Mason has many friends. You're not one of them." It was a sentence designed to sting, and honestly, for a second it did. And I wish I could tell you I walked away tall and proud. But the truth is, I froze. Because it wasn't the first time a man like him told me where my place was supposed to be. See, growing up people saw me and assumed things. Wrong neighborhood, wrong background, wrong everything. And even after I built myself up, built something real. Even after my life changed, that look people give you, that look that says you're less than them, it still hits something deep. That day, standing in front of a man who didn't know a thing about me but felt comfortable dismissing my entire existence, yeah, it hit. Act 2. The climb and the turning point. I finally walked inside anyway. Not because he allowed me, but because a younger cousin of the bride cut in and said, "He's with us, Uncle Charles. Let him through." Charles gave me one last glance, the kind that says you won't get far, and turned away. Inside the reception hall, the vibe wasn't much better. I got stared at, sized up, categorized. People asked me questions like they were playing Guess Who. So, what do you do? Are you part of the band? Are you Emily's charity volunteer project? A woman tapped my sleeve, leaned close, and whispered, "Sweetheart, I think you're in the wrong room. The staff kitchen is down the hall." And she smiled like she'd helped me. I tried to find Mason, but he was busy handling groomsmen photographers some last-minute disaster with the flowers. So I stood near the big windows holding a glass of water because I knew better than to drink when I was already irritated. And while I stood there trying not to mentally check out, things got worse. The venue manager approached me twice to check my invitation, even though I watched him wave through 3 couples without blinking. A group of men at the bar stared at me and laughed like they knew a joke I didn't. Every insecurity I thought I'd buried years ago started crawling back up my throat. And here's the funny part. Not funny haha, more funny wow, this is my life. The whole time I kept thinking if my mother could see this, she'd probably smack me for letting people get under my skin again. She used to say, "Don't let small people convince you that you're small. They only measure with broken rulers." About an hour in the room shifted. I didn't see him at first, but I heard my name shouted across the hall. Eli Carter. I turned, and there was Brent the groom in his white tuxedo walking toward me with his arms open like he'd just spotted an old friend returning from war. And technically he had. See, Brent worked for me. Not like in a casual sense. He worked at my company Carter Financial Group and I'd hired him myself. Trained him. Promoted him. For 4 years, I'd been his boss. He hugged me, slapped my back, pulled back with a grin. "I didn't know you were coming early, boss." People turned so fast I swear I heard necks crack. That word hung in the air like a dropped glass. Boss, not employee, not staff, not driver. Boss. The room went dead silent. Phones came out again, but for a very different reason this time. Brent, bless his clueless soul, kept going. He said, "You all know Eli, right? The guy who built Carter Financial, the guy who basically saved my career. The guy I won't shut up about." People stared like he just told them I was the mayor. Then he said the kicker. "Emily, honey, come meet my boss, my mentor, my friend." The bride turned beaming, walked over, shook my hand with both of hers, and I watched her expression change as she realized what her father had done. Act 3. The Payoff and the Quiet Revenge. Charles Cole returned to the room a few minutes later. Someone must have told him what he'd missed because he walked in stiff-pale like he'd aged 10 years outside. Brent waved him over. "Dad. You remember my boss, right? The man who runs the company I work for, the man whose training program literally got me hired." Charles looked at me like he was seeing me for the first time. Not because I suddenly became more valuable, but because he realized he'd miscalculated. Hard. He stuttered, I didn't realize, and I just smiled, because I wasn't giving him an easy exit. "Not this time," I said. "No worries, Mr. Cole. People make assumptions. Happens all the time." And I said it in the same tone he used on me earlier, gentle but sharp enough to cut if he listened closely. Mason finally arrived, pulled me aside, and apologized so many times he almost passed out. But I wasn't mad at him. He wasn't the one who judged me. Dinner rolled around and suddenly everyone wanted to talk to me. Folks who wouldn't look at me an hour earlier now laughed too loud, leaned too close, asked too many questions. "Can we connect sometime? Are you taking interns? Could you look at my portfolio? You know the usual. Funny how fast doors open when people think you can help them. Funny how you go from invisible to fascinating the moment they learn your bank account has commas. But here's the part that really got me. During the father-daughter dance, Emily whispered something to her dad, and for a second he looked at me over her shoulder with this expression I couldn't quite read. Not anger, not embarrassment. Something closer to fear. Like he suddenly understood the world was bigger than the bubble he built. I didn't stay long after that. I congratulated the couple, hugged, Mason slipped out quietly. But before I left, Brent caught up to me. He said I had no idea what my father-in-law said to you earlier. If I had known... And I cut him off. I told him, it's all right. People show who they are. Today, your father-in-law showed me who he was, and he didn't have to say a word. On my drive home, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. It said, I'm sorry. That's all it said. I knew it was from Charles. But I didn't respond. Because he wasn't apologizing to help me. He was apologizing to fix how he felt. And that's not my job. Epilogue. The debate. Starter, here's the truth. That day didn't make me feel powerful. It didn't make me feel vindicated. It made me tired. Because no matter how far you climb, some folks see the world in categories. Suits, skin, cars, clothes, and they think they can tell who you are in 3 seconds. And sure, the twist was satisfying, I won't lie, but it shouldn't have taken a reveal for people to treat me like a human being. So let me ask you this, and I want real answers. When someone judges a person by how they look, by what they assume, who's actually the small one in that moment, the person being judged or the person doing the judging? And have you ever been on either side of that? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell me your stories. Tell me who was right or wrong. And if you've ever watched someone underestimate the wrong person, share this video. You never know who needs the reminder. If you'd like, I can adjust tone. More humorous, darker, more dramatic. Shorten or expand. Create alternative twists, generate thumbnail prompts, title ideas, or tags. Just tell me.